Now, applications are open for XL bully dog owners, if you're one, to apply for an exemption before the breed is made illegal. All dogs that are not exempted will be euthanised after it becomes illegal to own one from the 1st of February. Owners will be able to choose to have their dogs euthanised and apply for compensation.
Well, joining us to discuss this is editor of Dogs Today magazine, Beverly Cuddy, and Sophie Coulthard with her dog Billy, who is believed to be an American XL bully type. Sophie, if I can just start with you, maybe we can see Billy while we're chatting. How simple or not are you finding this process?
The hardest thing is the government definition of the XL bully. I mean, I'm in a position where Billy doesn't quite meet the height criteria, but he obviously meets a lot of the other characteristics that are being described in the guidelines. But it's caused so much confusion for people who are saying, you know, I don't know whether to exempt my dog and take the conditions that come with that, or take the risk and walk my dog every day, not knowing if that dog will be seized.
Do you understand why some members of the public may have little sympathy with some XL bully dog owners when it comes to what the government is trying to implement here? It sounds like, yes, there are terms and conditions. Owners are going to have to go through some hoops, and sadly, some dogs may be euthanised. But we must remember why we are here, and that's because XL bully dogs have, unfortunately, carried out half of the fatal dog attacks in the UK, and that's since the pandemic.
I will question those statistics because we don't have full proof of all the breeds that are responsible for these attacks. I think it's fair to say that any dog that's a larger bull breed that's been involved in any attacks has been described as an XL bully, which is why the government have had such a difficult task trying to define this type. And I think you could say, what is the difference between a dog that is 1 inch shorter or 1 inch taller than another? That means that dog is dangerous. So I think we really do need to move away from labelling a dog based purely on its measurement as to whether that dog is dangerous or not. And let's face it, the American bully comes in different sizes as well. So are we saying that the XL bully is a danger and the pocket bully is not a danger? They're the same breed.
If we can just bring in Beverly Cuddy from Dogs Today. Beverly, what does this mean for the fate of dogs that are currently in dogs' homes? Are they going to be put down, put to sleep? I mean, dogs' homes are going to be filling up, aren't they? What will happen to them?
Well, sadly, even before this started, we were on 130% occupancy in rescue. So that's... obviously, there's no room for any more dogs. But any dogs that are left unhomed by the end of, I think it's New Year's Eve, are either trapped there which is obviously something that rescues don't really want to do, because if you can imagine, this is not a proper life for a dog being kept locked up for a lot of these dogs will be very young. If they're not found a home before New Year's Eve, they have to be put to sleep. And as we've seen, this definition is so vague that any smooth-haired crossbreed, bigger than a whippet, could be, well, this could be the biggest cull the country's ever seen of dogs, probably since the war.
Surely there needs to be some guidelines, though. Would you agree with that? And responsible owners, they've been given the opportunity to come forward, apply for an exemption, register their dog. They have to keep a lead on in public, muzzle the dog in public, microchip neutered. If you're a responsible owner who cares about your dog, surely you'll go through those stages in order to keep it. What's the problem?
I think if you know definitively you have a bully XL, then you have to accept that the law is changing. If there is a legal appeal going in to totally question whether or not this is actually correct, that we can do this. But if it goes ahead, then living your life with an exempted dog is not easy. If you're in rented accommodation, you may find that you are evicted. If you have a criminal record, you may find that the courts will deem you not a fit person to own a dog. If you've got children and you end up going to court, they may rule that this isn't a suitable home for that dog. It is not quite as simple as just putting a muzzle on and taking your dog for a walk. Immediately, your pet health insurance is voided. So if you've got a dog that's maybe on long-term medication, just because of the way the dog looks, not how it behaves, you are very, very majorly disadvantaged. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dogs here, not just Bully XLs. This is anybody with a dog that fits this very broad standard at the moment.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you think anyone? Sorry to interrupt. Do you think anyone in this country should be allowed to own any dog as they like without any regulation at all from the government? Because that's a point of view. Do you share that view?
I think everybody would welcome some proper legislation that does take everything much more seriously, the ownership of dogs, the breeding of dogs. It's been a free-for-all for so long, and we've been nagging government to bring in proper measures to make responsible ownership much more easy to achieve. There is no regulation of dog trainers, no regulation. The way breeders are regulated is very vague, and the use of the microchip, was put into law so long ago, but so often these details are not even recorded as to who bred each dog. And that it should be a case that if you breed badly, if your dogs end up causing a problem and hurting people, there should be a consequence to that.
Yeah, Sophie, sorry, Beverly, we're fast running out of time, and I just want to very briefly bring Sophie and Billy back in. We've just been watching training videos there with Billy, and he looks beautifully behaved, he looks beautiful, but there are a lot of irresponsible dog owners, aren't they, Sophie? Are there going to be, in your eyes, a lot of people who will actually dodge this ban because it's unenforceable?
I mean, that's it, isn't it? People that are going to avoid the law in general will probably not exempt their dogs. So I think we're looking at a situation where responsible owners like myself will comply because we're scared that our family pet, who we love, is going to be taken from us. But if the government actually looked at real legislation, such as licensing, educating dog owners, then we could have a much better solution for the future of the UK, instead of this knee-jerk reaction, which is just going to impact the quality of life for thousands of dogs. Everybody gets a dog so that they can take their dog on walks and enjoy their time in the outdoors, hopefully play with their dog, do training. And a lot of this, we've heard some of the bigger consequences, like we've heard regarding things like losing health insurance. But even just those small things, being able to take my dog to the park and play with him with a toy and do some training, are things that we're going to lose here. And the government could instantly change this by looking at licensing instead of a ban.
Sophie Coulthard, Beverly Cuddy and Billy, thank you all so much for discussing this. It's very difficult,
be on my
isn't
own
it?
on that one. I think
they have a point.
Muster up the sympathy for the owners, to be honest, because you hear from owners who thought their XL Bully was beautiful and lovely, and then one day it switches and you can't necessarily control it, even if you're the most responsible owner in the world.
But then there's people that say it is bad owners, it's not bad dogs.